This video is about Hephaestus forges thunder in Mount Olympus, but Loki unleashes chaos. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. In the celestial realm of Mount Olympus, where the laughter of gods mingled with the whispers of the wind, the air crackled with anticipation. It was known that within the heart of the sacred mountain, Hephaestus, the divine blacksmith, labored tirelessly. His forge, a sanctuary of fire and skill, glowed with an otherworldly light, illuminating the darkened corners of Olympus where shadows dared not linger. Hephaestus was no ordinary deity, he was a master craftsman, born from the very essence of creation. His hands, marked by the scars of countless forges, shaped destinies as easily as he shaped metal. With every hammer stroke, he infused his creations with the power of thunder, the essence of storms, and the fury of the heavens. Each clang of his hammer sent vibrations through the mountain, resonating with the heartbeat of the world below. On this fateful day, Hephaestus envisioned a weapon unlike any before, a spear imbued with the fury of Zeus himself. With every spark that flew from his anvil, the spirit of the forge whispered ancient secrets of strength and power. He envisioned the spear soaring through the sky, its tip electrifying the air, heralding victory for those favored by the gods. But as creation unfolded, a darker presence stirred, one that would unravel the fabric of Olympus. Far across the realms, in the shadowy recesses of Norse mythology, Loki, the trickster god, reveled in chaos. With a smile that masked centuries of treachery, he held court with shadows and whispers. Loki had long envied the majesty of Olympus and the power wielded by its deities. He had spied on the forge and heard of Hephaestus' thunderous creation, the spear that could change the tides of fate. In his heart, a wicked plot blossomed, one that would unleash chaos upon the proud Olympians. With a flick of his wrist, Loki summoned the dark forces of the cosmos, weaving a tapestry of deception and turmoil. He sent serpents slithering through the realms, whispering lies into the hearts of heroes and gods alike. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of crimson and gold, the air grew thick with anticipation. The gods gathered on Olympus, unaware of the storm brewing beyond their vision. On the eve of the forge's completion, Hephaestus sighed, wiping the sweat from his brow. He turned to his closest companion, a mechanical creature he had fashioned from the remnants of fallen stars. "Prometheus," he said, "do you feel it, the pulse of creation? This spear will be a beacon of hope, a guide for those who wander in darkness." Prometheus, with his glowing eyes and intricate ears, nodded. "Indeed, my master, but where chaos often lurks in the shadows of creation." The mechanical companion's voice, though metallic, held a sense of caution that resonated with Hephaestus. Meanwhile, in the dark corners of the world, whispers of betrayal floated on the winds. A group of warriors, led by the valiant Achilles, gathered on the shores of Aegean Sea. They spoke of impending war, of land and honor, unaware that Loki's schemes threatened to shatter their unity. As Achilles trained his men, his heart burned with the desire for glory. "Brothers," he bellowed, his voice echoing off the cliffs. "We stand on the brink of destiny. The gods smile upon us, and we shall not falter. Let us rise as one against any foe." But among them, hidden in shadows, a figure stirred, a spy sent by Loki. With a heart full of deceit and a mind twisted by lies, the spy murmured words of discord. "What if the gods favor not you, Achilles? What if your glory is but an illusion? They forge weapons for others, not for you." The seed of doubt took root, sprouting in Achilles' mind like a treacherous vine. The warrior, known for his valor, felt the weight of betrayal pressing upon him. As night fell, shadows danced along the shore, whispering promises of power. But once a unified band of warriors began to fray, whispers of suspicion lacing their words. Back on Mount Olympus, the forge of Hephaestus blazed brighter. The moment of creation had arrived. Hephaestus raised his arms, calling upon the elements. "By the fire that forged the stars, I summon the thunder." With a mighty blow, he struck the heated metal, and from the sparks, the spear of thunder emerged. It shimmered with electric blue energy, the essence of storms captured within its form. As he beheld his creation, pride swelled within Hephaestus. "With this spear, I will shield the realm from chaos." But even as he spoke, a dark shroud settled over Olympus, heralding Loki's looming presence. That night, as the gods feasted in a grand hall, a chilling gust of wind swept through the chamber. The golden goblets clinked, laughter echoed, yet unease crept into the hearts of the deities. Zeus, king of the gods, rose to his full height, a frown etched upon his brow. "What dark cloud dares to invade our revelry?" Just then, Loki appeared, clad in shadows, a smirk playing upon his lips. "O great Zeus, I come not to disrupt, but to enlighten." his voice dripped with mischief. Your creations, your glorious weapons, how fragile they are against the tide of chaos. A tense silence fell over the gathering. Hephaestus, still catching the glow of his spear, glared at Loki, flames dancing in his eyes. What trickery do you weave, Loki? Speak plainly, lest I forge a prison for your deceit. But Loki's laughter echoed through the hall, a haunting melody that sent shivers down even the bravest of hearts. Ah, dear Hephaestus, your forge may create beauty, but it cannot contain the wildness of fate. I bring tidings of discord, betrayal, and war. Your spear shall not be wielded for glory but for chaos. The gods exchanged uneasy glances, their unity threatened by the trickster's words. Distrust crept like a fog into their hearts, and whispers grew louder. Divided, they lost sight of their true purpose. In the shadows, the spy who had sown discord among Achilles' warriors now watched, gleeful at the chaos unfolding. Loki's plan was unfurling like a wicked flower, and with each petal that fell, the foundations of Olympus trembled. Driven by fury, Hephaestus stepped forward, gripping the spear tightly. I shall not let chaos reign. I will forge my destiny, and I will not be cowed by your tricks. His voice rang with determination, a battle cry against the tide of uncertainty. Foolish blacksmith, Loki sneered. Your fire may burn bright, but the hearts of gods can be more treacherous than any forge. Watch as your creation becomes a harbinger of destruction. With a flick of his wrist, Loki unleashed a swarm of nightmarish creatures, twisted beasts, born of chaos, poured forth from the shadows, intent on wreaking havoc. The air turned electric, crackling with tension as the creatures lunged toward the gods, claws and fangs glistening with malevolence. With a rallying cry, Zeus summoned the winds, conjuring a tempest to meet the onslaught. To arms, my kin, stand against this darkness. As the battle raged, Hephaestus, with his spear in hand, plunged into the fray, determination radiating from him like the heat of his forge. He struck down the monsters, each blow echoing with the fury of thunder. Yet, with every victory, doubt loomed larger, the spectre of betrayal gnawing at the edges of his mind. The clash of gods and beasts roared through Olympus, a symphony of chaos and honor. Achilles, caught in the throes of doubt, hesitated on the battlefield, his warriors divided by whispers of betrayal. The spear of thunder glimmered in Hephaestus' hands, a beacon of hope amidst the storm. Stand united, Hephaestus shouted, his voice cutting through the cacophony. We are gods, forged from the same flame. Let no trickster tear us apart. His fervor ignited the hearts of his kin, bridging the chasms of doubt. But Loki, hidden in shadows, watched with glee, a storm of chaos swirling around him. Let the true battle begin, he murmured, a malevolent grin spreading across his face. As the clash of gods and monsters intensified, destinies intertwined, and the fate of Olympus hung precariously in a balance. The echoes of thunder rang out, not just from the spear of Hephaestus, but from the hearts of those who would fight for honor, unity, and the very essence of their existence. And so, with the winds of fate swirling around them, the stage was set for a battle that would redefine the realms of gods, where honor clashed with chaos, and destiny awaited those brave enough to seize it. Amidst the brewing storm, the saga of Hephaestus and Loki had only just begun. As the tempest raged across Mount Olympus, the skies tore asunder, releasing torrents of rain that blended with the sweat and blood of gods and monsters alike. The air was thick with the scent of charred earth and the cries of those caught in the whirlpool of Loki's chaos. The sacred halls of Olympus, once a bastion of divine harmony, had morphed into a battlefield soaked in turmoil. Hephaestus, heart racing and muscles straining, wielded his spear of thunder like a beacon of hope amidst the darkness. With each strike, arcs of electric blue energy leaped forth, cleaving through the nightmarish creatures that clawed at the very foundations of his world. Their forms twisted and grotesque, birthed from chaos, they lunged hungrily, seeking to devour the light. Stand firm, fight for Olympus. Hephaestus bellowed, his voice cutting through the maelstrom. The gods rallied around him, their fear transformed into a fierce determination. At his side, mighty Zeus summoned bolts of lightning, intermingling his power with Hephaestus' creation. Together, they forged a wall of divine wrath against Loki's horde. But doubt lingered, a poisonous vine entwined in the hearts of the gods. Achilles, the stalwart warrior, stood paralyzed amidst the chaos, shattered by the whispers that had sown seeds of treachery. What if I am no longer favored? He muttered, staring into the fray, confusion etching deep lines upon his brow. Let not the words of a coward guide you, blade, Achilles, roared Athena, goddess of wisdom, as she dispatched the creature with a swift, elegant strike of her sword. Her armor gleamed, reflecting the chaos around them, a testament to her resolve. She turned to Achilles, her eyes fierce. Honor is not the gift, it is earned through action, fight, or let your name be forgotten. As if spurred by her words, Achilles shook off the weight of doubt and charged into the fray, his sword gleaming with the light of the sun. "By my honor, it shall stand," he shouted, rallying his men with a fierce cry that echoed across the battlefield. The warriors, bolstered by his resolve, surged forward, their weapons clashing against the monstrous horde. Yet amid the chaos, Loki watched with a glint of malice in his eyes, reveling in the turmoil he had sown. "Do you see, Hephaestus?" he sneered, his voice like silk draped over steel. "Your spear might wield the fury of storms, but it cannot mend the fractures in their hearts. The gods are but threads in the tapestry of fate, easily unraveled." Hephaestus gritted his teeth, the fire of his forge igniting anew within him. "You underestimate us, Loki. We are forged in struggle, and through the flames of adversity, we rise." With that, he thrust his spear toward the sky, summoning a storm that threatened to engulf Loki himself. The skies responded, swirling with a wild energy ignited by Hephaestus's rage. Loki, undeterred, flicked his wrist, and from the shadows emerged a new threat: serpentine creatures with scales that shimmered like polished obsidian. "Let us see how your creations withstand the darkness of betrayal," he cackled, and with a flick of his wrist, he sent them forth to ensnare the gods in a binding grip. The creatures lunged, their fangs glistening with venom. Hephaestus reacted instinctively, spinning his spear a whirlwind of electric fury. Bolts of thunder crackled through the air, illuminating the chaos. He struck down 2 serpents in one fluid motion, their bodies disintegrating in a flash of light. "Fight back, do not let his shadows claim you," he roared, but even as he shouted, he felt the weight of Loki's words settle heavily in the hearts of his kin. The divine powers that waged war against the beasts began to falter, doubt creeping in like a fog. Amidst this turmoil, Prometheus, Hephaestus's ever-loyal companion, saw a glimmer of hope amid the darkness. He had fashioned himself into a mechanical guardian, a warrior of metal and sparks. With a brave heart, he plunged into the fray, rallying a group of lesser gods and demigods. "We have fought through fire and darkness before. Together, we shall rise against this chaos," he cried. Emboldened by his words, the lesser gods joined hands, their combined energies forming a radiant shield against the encroaching darkness. Prometheus, his gears whirring with determination, led the charge, striking at the serpents with precision, his form a blur of polished steel and purpose. Seeing his kin unite, Hephaestus' heart surged with renewed vigor. The spear of thunder pulsed with energy, resonating with the determination of the gods. "For Olympus," he shouted, plunging his spear into the ground, summoning a wave of thunder that surged forth, pushing the dark creatures back, scattering them like leaves in a tempest. Yet the battle was far from over. With a flick of his fingers, Loki conjured a cyclone of chaos that twisted through the battlefield, scattering the gods and warriors alike. "Can you not see? The more you fight, the more you play into my hands. Your unity is but an illusion," he taunted, his laughter echoing across the heavens. Thunder rolled through the skies as Hephaestus charged toward Loki, his spirit ignited by the shouts of his fellow gods. "I shall silence you, trickster." He lifted his spear high, calling upon the true fury of Olympus. As he approached, Loki retaliated, summoning shadows to shield himself. The air crackled as their powers clashed, a cacophony of chaos and thunder reverberating through the heavens. With every strike, Hephaestus poured his soul into the spear, fueled by the strength of his kin. "You shall not win, Loki," he shouted, channeling the very essence of creation and destruction into a single moment. In response, Loki conjured a monstrous serpent, its scales glimmering like a sea of stars. "This is where your story ends, Hephaestus." He watched, glee dancing in his eyes, as the serpent lunged toward the blacksmith. But Prometheus intervened, positioning himself between his master and the beast. "Not while I stand," he declared, launching himself forward. The serpent recoiled, struck by a volley of sparks from Prometheus's frame, but the creature was relentless. With a roar of defiance, Hephaestus plunged his spear into the ground once more, summoning a wave of thunder that surged through the earth. The serpent writhed, caught in the electric grip of Olympus's might, and with one final surge of strength, Hephaestus hurled his spear at Loki. Time slowed as the spear flew through the air, a comet of divine retribution. Loki, realizing the threat too late, attempted to summon shadows to shield him, but it was futile. The spear struck true, piercing through the veil of chaos and finding its mark. A blinding light erupted upon impact, illuminating the battlefield. Loki screamed, his form dissolving into a swirling mist, the shadows dissipating like ashes in the wind. The gods stood in awe, the weight of uncertainty lifting as their unity shone through. But it was not over. From the remnants of Loki's chaos emerged a legion of creatures, more ferocious than before, emboldened by their master's last act of defiance. The ground shook under their feet, the air crackling with tension as they charged. "Stand together," Hephaestus shouted, raising his spear high. "We are forged as one, we fight for Olympus." The gods rallied, their hearts ignited by the power of unity. Achilles, now a warrior reborn in purpose, rallied his comrades. "For honor, for Olympus," he roared, his sword gleaming as he led the charge against the advancing horde. With Hephaestus at the forefront, the gods surged into battle, a radiant force clashing against the grotesque beasts, their combined strength illuminating the battlefield. The clash of divine power and chaos reverberated through the cosmos, a symphony of clashing wills and undying resolve. As the final onslaught echoed through the night, Hephaestus felt a profound realization settle within him. Unity in the face of chaos was their greatest weapon. "Together, we shall forge our destinies," he cried, and with that, they descended into the fray, voices rising in unison, a chorus of gods and heroes determined to reclaim their realm. A final clash erupted, waves of power crashing against the monstrous tide, and in that moment, Olympus stood unwavering. The thunder that echoed through the night was not just that of Hephaestus' spear, but of the indomitable spirit of gods willing to fight for their legacy. As the battlefield fell silent, the remaining shadows retreated into the night, fear retreating before the light of Olympus's unity. Hephaestus, breathless and triumphant, stood amidst the remnants of chaos, his spear still glowing, the embodiment of hope forged in the fires of conflict. The gods, weary yet resolute, gathered around Hephaestus, their eyes reflecting the light of camaraderie. "We are stronger together," Zeus proclaimed, his voice. The flickering embers of Hephaestus' forge still glowed in the aftermath of battle, but the air remained thick with tension, a reminder that chaos lingered like a storm cloud over Olympus. The gods stood in a circle around Hephaestus, their faces weary yet resolute, the echoes of their shared struggle hanging in the air like a lingering melody. "Together, we have faced the darkness," Zeus declared, his voice resonating with power, but Loki's treachery has only begun to unveil itself. The trickster hides in the shadows, waiting to strike again. His brow furrowed, and storm clouds began to gather overhead, mirroring his turmoil. Hephaestus nodded, still clutching his spear, its electric glow pulsating in time with his heartbeat. "We have defeated his monsters, but there are more lurking in the recesses of fate. We must prepare for what lies ahead." The weight of his responsibility pressed heavily on him, a burden only a smith could understand. Athena, wise and resolute, stepped forward. "Our victory today was not just a testament to our strength, but to our unity. We must not allow doubt to unravel us again." Her gaze swept over the assembled gods, igniting the flame of determination that flickered in their hearts. Among them, Achilles, newly emboldened and fierce, raised his sword high. "We fought as one. Let us not forget the taste of victory and the bonds forged in the fires of battle. I say we march against Loki. We must chase him to the ends of the earth if we must." "Yes," shouted Hermes, the fleet-footed messenger. "Let us hunt him and bring the trickster to justice. His games have cost us too much already." The energy in the air crackled with enthusiasm, and the gods rallied around Achilles, chanting his name as they prepared to act. But the moment of triumph was short-lived. As night descended, the once vibrant air grew heavy, filled with whispers of discord. From the shadows, dark tendrils slithered, creeping toward the gods, weaving through the golden halls of Olympus, a sinister reminder that chaos was not easily vanquished. With a sudden wail, a figure emerged from the darkness, a vision of torment and sorrow. It was Hecate, the goddess of magic and witchcraft, her eyes shining with a haunting light. "Beware, gods of Olympus," she warned, her voice like the rustle of autumn leaves. "Loki's influence is far-reaching. He has unleashed a curse upon your realm. You may have defeated his minions, but the true battle is yet to come." "What curse do you speak of, Hecate?" Zeus demanded, his brow darkening further. "The curse of division," she replied, her voice low and solemn. "Each time you fight amongst yourselves, his shadows grow stronger. The more you doubt one another, the more powerful Loki becomes." With a heavy heart, Hephaestus glanced around at his fellow gods. Their eyes flickered with uncertainty, the weight of Hecate's words sinking in. "Then we must forge bonds stronger than any blade," he proclaimed, his voice steady. "Only together can we extinguish the shadows that loom over us. We will not let his curse take root." As the deities rallied around Hephaestus, a palpable surge of energy ignited in the air, each heart beating in rhythm with the promise of unity. Yet, deep within the recesses of Olympus, shadows stared at Loki, hidden within the veil of nightmare, watched with delight. "Let the games continue," he whispered to the darkness. "For every bond they forge, I shall unravel it. They shall not find peace as long as I breathe." With a snap of his fingers, he summoned forth a new army, phantoms of betrayal, forged from the very fears that had plagued them. They emerged not as monstrous beasts but as twisted reflections of the gods, mirroring their darkest doubts and insecurities. On Olympus, as the night deepened, the gods began to feel an unsettling shift in the atmosphere. Prometheus, ever vigilant, sensed the change first. "Something stirs in the shadows," he warned, his mechanical form humming with unease. "We must be ready." Suddenly, the fabric of reality tore asunder, and from the fissures appeared the phantoms, glistening figures of darkness, each a haunting echo of the gods themselves. They bore the likeness of Achilles, Athena, and even Zeus, but their eyes gleamed with malice, and their voices dripped with venom. "Join us, Achilles, cast aside your honor." The phantom of Achilles sneered, his voice a twisted mockery. "Why fight for gods who would abandon you in your darkest hour?" "Shut your mouth," the real Achilles roared, charging at the spectre with his sword drawn. But as he struck, the blade passed through the phantom, sending ripples through the air. "Do you not see?" the phantom taunted, an eerie smile on its lips. "You are nothing without your glory. You are a fallen star, destined to fade." With each taunt, the phantoms fed on the gods' insecurities, sowing seeds of doubt that threatened to fracture their unity. Athena, confronting her own shadow, felt a gnawing fear creep into her heart. "Is my wisdom truly a burden? Have I led my kin astray?" "Your wisdom is a shadow," the phantom sneered. "You would sacrifice them all for your plans. They trust you no longer." The gods circled, their resolve wavering as the phantoms continued to claw at their hearts. "We are doomed," cried one lesser god, his voice trembling. "Why fight for a cause so fragile?" Hephaestus shouted, his voice cutting through the despair. "We are forged in the fires of adversity. We must not yield to despair." Summoning the power of his spear, Hephaestus thrust it into the ground, channeling the essence of Olympus through it. "Stand with me. Brothers and sisters, we are not alone." With the force of his will, the spear ignited a wave of light that surged outward, a beacon of hope piercing through the shadows. The phantoms shrieked as the light enveloped them, illuminating the battlefield with its brilliance. Together, he roared, and the gods, inspired by his courage, joined hands, their energies merging into a radiant shield against the darkness. "Let our unity be our strength." Bound by the light of their shared resolve, the gods turned to face their phantoms, no longer afraid. "Your lies hold no power over us," Athena declared, her voice unwavering. "We are strong in our differences. Together, we stand." The phantoms recoiled, their forms flickering as the light of unity began to dispel the shadows. "No, this cannot be," the dark Achilles shrieked, but it was too late. The gods surged forward, their combined might crashing against the twisted reflections. With each blow, the phantoms shattered, dispelled by the very essence of honor, strength, and unity. The night lit up with the brilliance of their resolve, and as the last shadow dissolved into the ether, a profound silence fell over Olympus. Breathing heavily, Hephaestus turned to his kin, a fire ignited deep within him. "We have faced chaos and overcome, but this is only the beginning. Loki will not rest until he sees us divided." A collective resolve washed over the gods, each heart now beating in harmony. "Let him come," Achilles proclaimed, his voice fierce and unwavering. "We will not falter. We will fight for Olympus." Zeus raised his hand, summoning the winds. "Then let us strike first. We shall hunt Loki and bring him to justice. The shadows shall not claim our realm." As the gods prepared to march against the trickster, a new resolve ignited within them, a determination steeped in honor and unity. They would not allow treachery to divide them. Yet, unbeknownst to them, Loki was already spinning his next web of chaos. In the shadowed depths of the cosmos, he summoned his remaining power, ready to unleash a storm that would test the very bonds of their unity. "Let the true games begin," he whispered, laughter echoing into the void, a dark promise that the trials of Olympus were far from over and that destiny would soon demand even greater sacrifices from the gods who dared to stand against him. As the gods of Olympus set forth on their quest to hunt down Loki, their hearts burned bright with the memory of unity forged in battle. But destiny, ever a fickle mistress, would soon reveal the true depths of their trials and the cost of honor in a world teetering on the brink of chaos. The stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of Olympus. The gods of Olympus, their spirits ignited by the fires of unity, strode forth from the sanctum of their home, the sacred halls echoing with the promise of vengeance against Loki. Hephaestus led the charge, his spear of thunder crackling with energy, illuminating the path ahead. "We shall reclaim our peace and banish chaos from our realm," he declared, his voice reverberating like the hammer striking metal in his forge. At his side, Zeus, king of the gods, summoned the winds, his eyes gleaming with a fierce determination. With the might of Olympus behind us, let us hunt Loki down to the ends of the earth. No shadow shall hide him from our judgment, he proclaimed, raising his hand to the heavens, calling forth bolts of lightning that danced in the skies like furious serpents. Athena, wise and steadfast, walked alongside them, her armor glinting with the light of resolve. We must be vigilant. Loki, as treachery runs deep, he will attempt to twist our bonds and drive wedges between us. Her gaze swept over her fellow deities, catching the eyes of Achilles, who marched with a renewed sense of purpose. I will not yield, Achilles shouted, his voice like thunder rolling across the lands. I have tasted the bitterness of betrayal, and I will not allow it to fracture our unity again. For honor, for Olympus. Their resolve echoed through the verdant valleys below, where the shadows stretched long beneath the daunting peaks of Mount Olympus. Warriors from far and wide gathered, bolstered by the promise of divine support, ready to stand alongside the gods against the looming darkness. But uncertainty crept like a fog into the hearts of the lesser gods and demigods, their eyes drawn to the ominous clouds swirling above. What if we fail? One of them whispered, trembling. What if we are but pawns in Loki's game? Silence. Hephaestus bellowed, his voice cutting through the murmurs. We are not pawns. We are the architects of our fate. Together we shall forge a path through this chaos, and our will shall be the hammer that strikes true. With renewed vigor, the gods formed a phalanx, their resolve as unyielding as the mountains that loomed overhead. They began their march toward the edge of the mortal realm, where the veil separating worlds grew thin and shadows danced like whispers on the wind. As they approached the dark woods, a place where light dared not linger, the air grew thick with tension, laden with the scent of damp earth and ancient secrets. It was said that this forest was a sacred domain where Loki could weave his dark arts, hiding among the twisted trees and echoing shadows. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and a chilling wind whipped through the branches, sweeping away the last vestiges of daylight. From the depths of the forest emerged creatures of nightmare spectral wolves, their eyes glowing with malevolence. They howled as they surged forward, a tide of teeth and fur intent on tearing apart the fabric of unity the gods had just sown. Stand firm, Zeus commanded as he summoned a tempest, lightning striking the ground and illuminating the surrounding darkness. We shall not be cowed by phantoms, fight. The gods stood resolute, their weapons drawn, and as the wolves lunged, Achilles took the lead, his sword gleaming fiercely in the dim light. Let them come, she roared, slashing through the first wave of beasts with the grace of a tempest. For every shadow that dares approach, we shall bring the light of Olympus. The clash of divine power against ferocious beasts echoed through the woods, a symphony of battle that resonated with the very earth beneath them. Athena danced through the chaos, a spear weaving an intricate tapestry of fate, striking down enemies with precision. We are the guardians of this realm, she shouted, her voice ringing like a bell. As the wolves fell before them, Hephaestus felt the earth quaking beneath his feet. From the depths of the forest, a deeper shadow stirred, a monstrous figure emerged, towering and grotesque, its form a twisted amalgamation of despair and fury. It was a creature of chaos, born from the very heart of Loki's darkness. Behold the wraith of betrayal, the creature roared, its voice a cacophony of anguish and fury. I am the embodiment of doubt, the shadow that gnaws at the very essence of your unity. A wave of despair washed over the gods, and Hephaestus felt the tendrils of doubt slither into their hearts. No, he shouted, raising his spear high. We shall not falter. But the wraith's voice rang out, echoing through the trees. You may wield thunder and light, but within each of you lies a fracture, a seed of doubt that I shall exploit. The gods staggered, caught in the grip of their insecurities. Achilles felt the weight of his past glories, the burden of expectations pressing down upon him. What if I fail them again? He gasped, his sword trembling in his grip. Athena's heart raced as she confronted her shadow. What if my wisdom has led us astray? She thought, doubt creeping in like a thief in the night. See how easily they crumble, the wraith laughed, its voice a haunting melody that resonated with their fears. You bonds are as fragile as the wings of a moth. I shall feast upon your despair. With a surge of determination, Hephaestus stepped forward, his spear gleaming with electric brilliance. We are forged in the fires of adversity. We are not defined by our doubts, but by our resolve together. We will face this darkness. Channeling the energy of Olympus, Hephaestus plunged his spear into the ground, summoning a surge of thunder that rippled through the earth. The wraith howled in pain as the light radiated outward, illuminating the shadows that threatened to consume them. Together, shouted Zeus, rallying his kin. We stand as one. With renewed vigor, the gods surged forward, their hearts igniting with the power of unity. Achilles, fueled by the strength of his comrades, charged at the wraith, his sword gleaming with divine light. You will not claim us, he shouted, striking fiercely. The wreath recoiled, but his stuck laughter echoed through the trees. Fools, you think your unity can withstand the storm? I shall unravel you. But as despair threatened to take root, Athena stepped forward, her voice ringing clear above the chaos. We are not mere warriors, we are gods, we cannot be broken by shadows. As if responding to her call, the gods joined hands, their energies merging into a radiant shield that pulsed with the brilliance of the sun. Together, they shouted, their voices rising like a chorus of thunder. The wraith lunged, but the combined power of the gods surged forth, shattering its form like glass. The shadows trembled, and with every ounce of their unity, they pushed the darkness back, illuminating the forest in an explosion of light. With a final roar, the wraith was consumed by the brilliance, its dark whispers silenced. The gods stood victorious, their hearts thundering in rhythm with the pulse of Olympus. But as the echoes of battle faded, the air grew heavy once more. From the shadows, Loki watched, his laughter echoing like a chilling wind. You may have thwarted my wraith, but the true test of your bonds is yet to come, he sneered, his eyes glinting with malice. Prepare yourselves, for I shall unleash chaos unlike anything you have ever faced. The gods turned, their faces set in determination. We shall face whatever darkness you conjure, Loki. Zeus declared, his voice steady. Our bonds shall endure, forged in the fires of battle. And so, with spirits rekindled, the gods of Olympus marched onward, their hearts united against the gathering storm. But the spectre of betrayal lingered, a reminder that their greatest challenge lay not in the monsters they faced, but in the shadows that loomed within themselves. The path ahead twisted and turned like the very fabric of fate, and as they ventured deeper into the unknown, they would need to confront not only the chaos woven by Loki, but the doubts that threatened to unravel them. It was a journey of trials, a quest for honor, and the bonds of unity that would ultimately decide the fate of Olympus. And as the celestial winds howled through the trees, the gods readied themselves for whatever lay ahead, ready to forge their destinies amidst the chaos, determined to emerge as true champions of Olympus. The true battle had only just begun.